Happy April, everyone. I'm Levi Meyerhofer, here with Irish Live, along with Brady Danik on the camera and computer, and we have this Tri-County Conference matchup between the Lady Irish of Seneca High School and the Mallards of Henry-Senachwine High School. This is no joke of a matchup, folks, in the Tri-County Conference. The Lady Irish are 4-0 in the conference, and they are 6-1 overall. Last night, they came off of a win at home. Win last night was against non-conference Gardner South Wilmington. Starting up for the Henry-Senachwine Mallards, number 1, Nadia Kessling. Number 4, Nikita Kessling. Number 7, Shayla Moberg. Number 6, Hope Self. Number 28, Tandon Van Etten. And number 9, Gabby Garcia. Along with libero number 5, Brooke Ulm. On the Seneca side, we now have, for starting, number 1, senior Addie Bland. Number 8, junior Carly Grieve. Number 10, senior Brooklyn Gertz. Number 12, junior Zoe Hogus. Number 13, senior Maddie Bromberek. And number 15, senior Chloe Lind, along with Taylor Draves, Jr. at libero. Due to COVID restrictions, they don't do the usual run through and high five before each game. So at this point, it's more of an awkward wave that they don't know what to do with. I'd like to thank Carter Ellis and Given Siegel, who were with you on the air for the JV match tonight. We apologize for the technical difficulties in the middle of that. But I'd also like to thank Mr. Dalton Negrush and Calvin Meyerhofer for doing the computer and camera. A quick from Gertz to Bromberek, and we start off the scoring with a Brooka Brombo combo. Coming in for Chloe Lind is Maddie Mino to serve for the Lady Irish. Self up to Moberg, and that goes into the net for Henry-Senachwine. Mino again the serve. Bromberek blocks that one at the net, and that ref's calling that she didn't block it, that they was just went straight back down to Hope Self. Mino served too far out the back, and that will result in the first score for the Mallards. Again, no joke that they are the Henry-Senachwine Mallards. Waterfowl's not one you hear every day in high school sports. Nonetheless, there are 3 in the state of Illinois. Off the top of my head, the Flying Geese also of Weathersfield High School in Kewanee, and the Ducks of Havana High School. Bromberek taps it over the net. This is Ulm with a spike from Nikita Kessling. And that gets down after getting tapped at the net. That's behind Seneca's front row, and it is 4-2. This brings up Tandon Van Etten, Jr. from Henry-Senachwine. The serve hit the top of the net, and that was dig from Maddie Mino goes over and out of bounds toward the home bleachers. Mino to Gertz, taps it over, hit the top of the net and landed very nicely in the middle of all the Mallards. Self up to Nadia Kessling, and Self is going to be called for 2. Brady, I know it's a gaggle of geese, but do you know what a group of mallards is called by chance? Brady says he does not. Bromberich with the serve. That was taken in from Nikita Kessling, and that'll be the 4 hit on Henry's side after Brooke Ohm couldn't get it back over the net. 7-3, Seneca leads. Bromberich again, taken in by Ohm. This is Self up to Kessling. Hogus and Gertz will safely pass it over on the 3rd hit. Ohm takes it in. Self up to Nikita Kessling again. That will land safely at the top toward the back. Still inbounds, and that brings up number 6, Hope Self, the junior from Henry-Senachwine, to serve for the Mallards. Self the serve with a dig from Draves. Gertz to Bland. What a kill from Addison Bland, the senior from Seneca High School. Speed behind that one. And that brings up senior Gertz to serve. Nikita Kessling trying to tap it without hitting the upright. Still hits the upright, and it will result in another Gertz serve. Ball is up. Taken in by Ohm. And that will, looks like, hit her left thumb and go out of bounds toward the Seneca home bleachers. And that will lead to a timeout called by the Mallards of Henry-Senachwine. Henry is a town, but Senachwine is not a town in Illinois. Henry-Senachwine is named because it is in the town of Henry, but Senachwine is the one township in Putnam County which students do not go to Putnam County High School. So of all the townships, all but one houses students at Putnam County High School, and this is the only one. Also, I have an update on the group of mallards. Is called a sword, but when they're in flight, it's called a flock. I like a sword better. Coming out of the timeout, Brooklyn Gertz back up for the Lady Irish. Received from Ohm. Self. That one looked like it was the top of the net, and a spike and a kill from Zoe Hogus, number 12 from the Lady Irish. Gertz back up. That time received by Moberg. Self back to Moberg. Hits that one over, and Gertz tried to get a pancake under that. That lands right in the middle of all the Irish. Brings up Nikita Kessling for the Mallards. Received from Draves. Gertz up to Bland. That one will go off of Nikita Kessling. Save from Self and back to Kessling, who will safely pass it over. This is Bromberich to Gertz. Set up to Chloe Lind. And that's a call of Nadia Kessling in the net. Seneca now up 12-5. And Addie Elterville coming to serve, replacing Zoe Hogus. Received from Ulm. Self up to Moberg. And that will go over the front row and out the back. Too far, 13-5, Seneca leads. Ultrabook serve taken in by Kessling. And this is Moberg, will hit the upright. Seneca up by 9. Again, Ultrabook serve taken in by Ulm. Self to Nadia Kessling, and they're going to call that one was over the upright, thus out of bounds. Ultrabook serve again by Ulm. Self to Nikita Kessling, who hits that one into the net. And another timeout called by the Mallards of Henry-Senachwine. I'd like to take this time to thank all of our sponsors here on Irish Live. We have none. Thank you to all our sponsors. I would really like to thank our IT department, athletic department, everyone, all the students who have come together to make Irish Live possible. We began this last year in 2019, started at a volleyball game against Midland. I remember doing that game. And I think it's come a long way since then, especially given the extreme need for online streaming at this time. So I'd like to thank all the students who have come together and joined Irish Live to bring you such great feed here on YouTube for free. Specifically, thank you again to Brady Danek, who is with me right now on the computer and the camera. Spike from Moberg was blocked at the net by Bland and Lind. This is Gertz up to Grieve, and she's going to be called for a lift. Gertz will. Seneca still up 10, 16-6. Last night they won in 2 against Gardner South Wilmington. Each of those games going 25-20. Serve from Ulm, taken in by Draves. This is Gertz to Bland. Coming in, hits Van Etten, and goes out of bounds behind the Mallards. Bringing up Addie Bland to serve for the Lady Irish. Hits Ulm, and that will go out the back. Looks like hit Ulm in a awkward situation. Hit the inside of elbows, probably top of the forearms. Seneca now up 12 with Bland back up. Einhaus comes in to replace Grieve on the Lady Irish side. Land serve was received by Nikita Kessling. Self up to Moberg, and a kill for Moberg. Number 9, Garcia, comes in. For the Mallards. On the serve, Bland. Looks like a little misread there, and it went off of her forearms out the back toward Chris, the trainer. I'd like to thank him for all the great work he does for all of our Seneca High School athletes as well. Chris Jackson. That serve went off of Lind and hit the official stand. And that brings Garcia back up for the Mallards. Seneca still up 9. Received by Bland. This is Gertz to Bromberek, a kill. That went off of Ulm, couldn't gather it. And that will bring Maddie Mino up to serve for the Lady Irish, coming in for Chloe Lind. Again, Maddie Mino Jr. coming in. Received by Ulm. This is Self to Van Etten. Lands neatly inbounds. just inside the yellow, and that will be a point for the Mallards. That serve from Moberg goes off of Seneca and out of bounds in the back. It's 19-11. That time went off of the side of the left forearm of Mino. And another service point for Shayla Moberg. This time Moberg hits this one into the net. And Zoe Hogus will come in to replace Haley Einhaus. Taylor Draves with the serve. Ulm to Self and up to Van Etten. Gertz Bromberich received by Moberg. Nikita Kessling to Van Etten, who will pass it safely over. Mino to Gertz to Bromberich. A quick Brooke Brombo combo once again. Draves a serve. Van Etten will hit that one into the net on the overhead. And Taylor Draves now back up for Lady Irish, who need 3 to finish the first game. Moberg to Self to Van Etten. Received well by Draves. Gertz to Bromberich with the spike. That will hit the rafters after being hit, looks like, by Garcia. This is Gertz to Bromberich again, taps it over. Quick adjustment by Self, and Ulm will pass it over from behind the 10-foot line. Bromberich with a kill that time. Hit Ulm, trying to get a pancake under it, but still couldn't quite get control of it. And Brooklyn Gertz and Madison Bromberich strike again. Block at the net by Gertz and Bromberich after a hit from Kessling, and that will land on the Mallards' side. That will hit the Mallards and then go out of bounds, hit the scorer's table. Seneca needs 1 to finish this one off. Draves serves up. Nikita Kessling tips it over. That was Gertz to Hogus, who tapped it safely over. And now Nikita Kessling over the net again. Mino to Gertz to Bromberich. The spike will hit the ground after hitting number 9, Garcia, and that will end the first one, 25-12. We'll be right back in a couple minutes with the second game of this Tri-County Conference matchup between the Seneca Lady Irish and the Henry-Senachwine Mallards here on Irish Live. Welcome back for the second game between the Seneca Lady Irish and the Mallards of Henry-Senachwine High School here on Irish Live. I'm Levi Meyerhofer coming at you from the land of the Irish in Seneca, Illinois, along with Mr. Brady Danek on the camera and computer scoreboard. Seneca won the first game of this set, 25-12, and this will bring up Addie Bland to start the second one for the Lady Irish. Received by Ulm. And Moberg back to Ulm, hits the top of the net. Grieve, quick adjustment, and Bromberg will hit it over. Ulm takes it, and now Van Etten with the spike. Dig from Gertz. Lind to Bromberg. That will go off of Nikita Kessling. Tick, tick, boom on that spike from Bromberg. The ceiling was a bit higher. That looked like it could have gone into the student section, but it hit the rafters. Score is 1-0, and Addie Bland comes back up. Garcia hits it straight back over. This is Gertz to Bromberg. Lind trying to get out of the way. Gertz doesn't get there in time. That will go under the net after hitting Gertz in the wrist. Moberg with the serve. Received by Bland. This is Gertz up to Bromberg. Hits the side of her hand, and that goes under the net. Mallards with the early lead. Moberg to serve again. That went off of Draves and out of bounds. And that serve from Moberg will go too far out the back behind Lind and Bland. Mino coming in for Chloe Lind. Mino's serve was taken by Ulm. And a safe pass over from Self. Mino receives. Gertz to Bromberg, who will tap it over into the middle of the Mallard sword. As humans can't fly, then they must be on the ground, and Mallards on the ground in a group are a sword. I've learned today. Thank you, Brady Danek, for that one. That serve from Maddie Mino rolled over the net ever so slightly and out of reach of any of Henry-Senachwine's players. Ulm to Self, up to Nikita Kessling, who taps it over. Brooklyn Gertz returns the favor. Nikita Kessling, pass it over, received by Mino. This is Gertz to Bromberg, two hands, tapped it over. Gertz pass it over after a hit from Grieve. Nikita Kessling with a kill. Hits the free throw line, or pretty close to it. It is tied up 4-4 here in the land of the Irish. Draves to Gertz, up to Bromberg, who will just barely tap it over. Moberg looks like she got a hand on it, but that still hits the ground, and that will bring up, again, Taylor Draves to serve for the Lady Irish. That serve was received by Moberg, and this is Ulm overhand, just a little bit too far out the back. Draves back up to serve for the Lady Irish. That serve taken by Moberg. Self up to Nikita Kessling into the net, and that will be down for a Lady Irish score. Draves' serve went off of the side of Moberg's arm and into where the student section would normally be. Again, different times. And now the student section is up in the mezzanine this year. Due to code restrictions, the first 4 rows are blocked off. That one again will go off of Moberg. Seneca now leading 9-4. Substitution for Henry-Senachwine comes in number 12, Taylor Homan, to replace Shayla Moberg. Draves a serve, received by Garcia. Draves to Gertz, up to Bromberek. That one looked like it was going out. Ulm was in the way, tried to get out of the way. It still hit her shoulder, and that will be out on the Mallards. And a timeout called by Henry-Senachwine. Now, the Tri-County Conference, the conference that both of these teams are in, lost 2 teams this past year. One of them, Depew, went to the Little 10 Conference to join teams with the likes of Indian Creek, Newark, Serena, Earlville, and a few others. Hiawatha. And then Peoria Christian, I believe they went down to the Lincoln Trail Conference, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be mistaken on that one. I think Lincoln Trail's a little too far north. Nonetheless, still lost 2 teams the last year, and next year they will be gaining one of Seneca's more timely foes. The Dwight Trojans will be joining the Tri-County Conference starting next school year. Also, the name Tri-County Conference is a bit misleading nowadays, even though it originated a long time ago. It now covers, I believe the number is 6 counties after they lost Peoria Christian, which at that time made it 7, and a spike from the Lady Irish that will give them an 11-4 lead. This is Self to Nikita Kessling just out the back. No good for the Mallards. It is 12-4. Ulm. Nadia Kessling barely hit that one over the net. Hit 2 Lady Irish and still out the back. Quick adjustments for both. Didn't get there in time. That will bring up Garcia for the Mallards. Excuse me, that brings up Hope Self for the Mallards. Land to Gertz, up to Hogus. That will hit Ulm in the side of the arm. That one had a lot of top spin on it. Almost straight down. Bromberek, serve taken in by Ulm. Self up to Nikita Kessling, received dig by Bromberek. Gertz to Hogus, and a dig this time was from number 12, Homan. Addie Bland in the net for the Lady Irish. That will result in a point for the Mallards. Number 4, Nikita Kessling up to serve. Coming in to replace Homan, number 7, Moberg. Draves to Gertz. This one up to Hogus. And that one was a dig from Ulm. Double hit on the set from Self. Lind comes in to replace Mino on the Lady Irish side. Miscommunication between Nikita Kessling and Brooke Ulm results in another score for the Lady Irish. Brooklyn Gertz back up for Seneca. Excellent saves by both Nikita Kessling and Nadia Kessling to get it over. And that spike at the net will result in Brooklyn Gertz again behind to serve. That ace gets down in front of Moberg. Seneca now up 11. Still has 8 to go. That time went into the net. Coming in is Tannen Van Etten to replace Nadia Kessling. Olm serve. Received from Draves, just out of reach of Brooklyn Gertz to try to save it with one hand, and that will be a point for the Mallards. Henry-Senachwine is not the only Mallards in the nation. Again, this is not an April Fool's joke. It's just true facts right here. Is that a school in Berlin, Maryland, Worcester Prep, they are also the Mallards. Again, not a common one, but still interesting that it's happened twice. And that spike from Van Etten, too far out of bounds. That will result in Addie Eltervug coming up to serve for the Lady Irish. Comes in to replace Hogus. That serve off the side of Ulm's arm. And Seneca now up 11. Eltervug serve. Ulm with the dive to save it. Nikita Kessling hits it over. Dig from Bromberich. This is Gertz up to Bland. Tapped that one over. Moberg to Self, who was just at the net, and trying to save it was Nikita Kessling. Couldn't quite get it in bounds. Still went over the net. Would have been a very nice save had it done so. Eltervug serve into Kessling. Moberg, power behind the spike, just too much, went out the back and out of bounds, and a timeout called by Henry-Senachwine. The Lady Irish, again, today is Thursday, April 1st. The Lady Irish will be going to Midland to take on the Timberwolves on Monday, April 5th. JV game will begin at 5:30 there, followed by the varsity game. And then on Tuesday, April 6th, the Lady Irish will be home against the Midland Timberwolves. Again, same team. And the JV game will begin at 5:30, also on Tuesday night. Before that, though, tune in tomorrow to Irish Live for the home opener for the varsity boys football team, as they will be taking on Sangamon Valley Conference opponent, the Warriors of Watseka High School. Seneca comes in at 0-1 after a loss at Clifton Central last week, 62-38. Out of the timeout, Eltervug with the serve, and Moberg to return. Bromberich to Gertz, up to Bland, blocked by Van Etten at the net, and that will land barely in bounds, painting the corners. Moberg to serve. Seneca up 12, still has 4 to go. Excuse me, not Moberg to serve. That will bring up a little bit of confusion here. That will bring up Garcia to serve for the Mallards. That serve received by Grieve. Gertz to Bland behind her, and that will go off of Garcia and hit the wall. Bland has some power behind her hits today as well. Van Etten the spike. Dig from from Gertz. Again, just over the net, Van Etten. This is Gertz, this time to Grieve, saved by Nikita Kessling. Bromberich hit it down. Fumbled by a couple Mallards toward just at the ground, couldn't get it above 2 feet. And that will bring up Bland to serve again. Seneca needs 2. That one goes into the net, almost hits Haley Einhaus. Now it's Moberg up to serve for the Mallards. Seneca leads 23-10. Again, they won the first one, 25-12. Eltervoog receives the serve. This is Gertz up to Bromberg and received by Ulm. Moberg to Bland. This is Gertz now to Bromberg. Taps it over at the net. I believe that was Garcia, or maybe I believe that was Self trying to save that one from getting too far, but went into the net and could not be saved from hitting the ground. Seneca now needs 1 to finish this one off, take the sweep. Ulm with the receive. Nikita Kessling, pass it over. This is Gertz to Bromberg. That one gets down, and that will end it after going off of Shayla Moberg. Final here from the land of the Irish. Seneca beats the Mallards of Henry-Senachwine 2-0. The first game went 25-12. The second one 25-10. Again, the Lady Irish will be at Midland on Monday to take on the Timberwolves. JV game beginning at 5:30 and the varsity game at 6:30. And then come back the next night. And instead, the Timberwolves will be traveling here to Seneca as the Lady Irish will be taking on Midland. Again, JV game at 5:30, varsity game at 6:30. Tomorrow night, we'll be back here on Irish Live at 7 o'clock to bring you the home opener for the boys varsity football team as they'll be taking on the Watsika Warriors in a Sangamon Valley Conference matchup. Those boys looking to repeat what happened last year, in which they went to Watsika and shut them out 20-0. Again, I think that's going to do it here from the land of the Irish. I'd like to thank everyone on the Irish Live team, all the guys, Carter Ellis, Given Siegel, Calvin Meyerhofer, and Dalton Negrush, who helped with the JV game. Also, Brady Danick, who did the camera and the scoreboard, and also Mr. Jeff Meyerhofer, who joined us toward the end of this match to help with the computer scoreboard as well. And from the land of the Irish, Seneca wins in 2, 25-12 and 25-10. I'm Levi Meyerhofer with Irish Live, and this is Hoff signing off.